Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff Thielman. I'm the president and CEO of the International Institute. And today, my colleagues, Emma Tobin, our chief program officer, and Caroline Rowe, the managing director of our site in Lowell, Massachusetts, will talk to you about our new move to our new site in Lowell. We have moved our offices from 1517 Warren Street to 101 Jackson Street, the second floor of the Lowell Community Health Center. And we're thrilled about this move, and we want to talk to our friends and supporters about it. As folks know, the International Institute of New England has offices in Boston, Massachusetts, in Chinatown, in Manchester, New Hampshire, right off of Elm Street on Pine Street, and we have an office in Lowell, Massachusetts. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Lowell and our history in the city, and a little bit about the International Institute of New England, just to give you an overview. And then at the end, Emma and Caroline and I are happy to take some questions, and we're also going to give you a virtual tour of our new site. For those of you who are not Lowellians, I want to give you just a little history or a little background on the city of Lowell. Lowell has a population of about 111,000 people. It's the largest city in the Merrimack Valley and the fifth largest city in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It's also one of the most diverse cities in the state of Massachusetts. Nearly 40% of its residents identify as people of color, and 28% were born outside of the United States. And many Lowellians are children or grandchildren of immigrants. My colleagues, Chris Coe and Emma Tobin, worked on a report in 2018 called the New Economy Report to document the impact immigrants have on the city of Lowell and the whole region. They work with other service providers, and the research was done in conjunction with the New American Economy's Gateway for Growth initiative. The report showed that most of the population growth in the city of Lowell in recent years was due to immigration. While immigrants represent 28% of the population of the city of Lowell, they are 34% of the working age population in the city, and they represent 43% of business owners in the city of Lowell. So the folks starting businesses, the folks employing people, were born outside the United States. Immigrants are critical to several industries in the city, including manufacturing, construction, professional services, healthcare, and hospitality. These businesses would not operate without immigrant labor and talent. And the report shows that state, local, and federal tax contributions by the immigrant community and immigrants across the country are critical to the success of our economy. Our Medicare system, our system of Social Security would not be supported were it not for immigrant labor and talent. So let me, the immigrant community in Lowell, the most recent numbers that we have, about 24% of the immigrant community in Lowell are people from Cambodia, 10% from Brazil, India, 5.4%, Dominican Republic, 5%, Vietnam, 4%, an increasing number of people who are from African countries. So let me talk a little bit about the history of the International Institute of New England in the city of Lowell. We are deeply connected to the immigrant journey and the immigrant history in Lowell. And we've been in the city of Lowell since 1918, 103 years. It's actually 103 years and 2 months as of today. We started during a period of immigration growth in the United States. So between 1880 and 1920, more than 20 million people came to the United States from all over the world, mostly from Europe, and a lot of people can trace their heritage to that migration. In response to this trend, in 1910, the National Office of the YWCA, or Young Women's Christian Association, encouraged their affiliates across the United States to open international institutes to welcome people to their new communities. In 1918, amidst rising nationalism in the United States, don't forget this is a period where World War I was ending and there was a lot of nationalism in the country, the leaders of the Lowell YWCA, the women running that organization, opened the International Institute to help immigrant girls and women integrate into the community. The Institute's earliest programs in the city of Lowell included dance, sewing, and cooking programs, English classes, and a variety of social clubs that brought together people from different countries. By 1930, the International Institute of Lowell shifted to providing more comprehensive services to the broader immigrant community. In 1935, the International Institute became an independent nonprofit organization with its own board of directors. Over the years, the International Institute in Lowell responded to a variety of migration crises. During World War II, the organization offered Red Cross trainings to people in this country, helped reunify family members, and offered immigration and legal assistance to people navigating our immigration system. After World War II, the staff at the International Institute in Lowell resettled refugees from war-torn Europe and the new Soviet bloc states. An act of Congress in 1953, known as the Refugee Act, resulted in a new wave of refugees from China and other parts of Asia coming to Lowell. In the 1960s, the International Institute in Lowell resettled people who fled the Azores after a volcanic eruption, as well as people fleeing the new regime in Cuba. For our 50th anniversary in 1968, a columnist for the Lowell Sun wrote that the International Institute was a place where thousands of immigrants from all over the world came seeking someone, someplace where they will be understood. The International Institute is that place, and we have been that place for now 103 years. In the 1970s and 1980s, the International Institute welcomed refugees and immigrants from Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, and in the 1980s, we welcomed people from the Balkans, Central America, and Central Asia. In the new millennium, we welcomed immigrants and refugees from Afghanistan, Myanmar, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Syria, Somalia, Iran, Iraq, and other nations. So every single nationality that has marched through the city of Lowell at one point or another graced the doors of the International Institute of New England. So let's talk a little bit about the International Institute of New England. In the early 2000s, the International Institute of Lowell merged with the International Institute of Boston and its affiliate office in Manchester, New Hampshire. There was an independent organization in Manchester, New Hampshire. In 1994, Boston and Manchester merged, and by 2011, the three sites became known as the International Institute of New England. And over the past several years, those of us in leadership at the International Institute have worked very hard to build strong and deep relationships with people in all three cities, but especially we worked very hard in recent years to build relationships in the city of Lowell. And one way we did this in the city of Lowell was that we held the 100th anniversary celebration on May 1st, 2019. So our anniversary year started on May 1st, 2018. It formally ended our 100th year celebration on December 31st, 2019. And in the middle of that, or towards the middle of that period, or towards the end of that period, actually, we held the Lowell 100 celebration at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium. You can see a picture of the Lowell 100. Emma Tobin, who was then our managing director in Lowell, now our chief program officer, helped to organize, led the effort to organize this event, and she and a committee worked together to honor 100 Lowellians who were immigrants themselves or who advocated for the immigrant community in Lowell. People who had stood out, both people who were alive and who had passed away. And the celebration allowed us to reconnect with lots of wonderful friends in the city of Lowell, including former directors of the International Institute of Lowell, and was great for Emma and I and other people in leadership to hear their stories and to get a history of our wonderful organization. The Lowell site serves on average 600 people a year, and it's now the home of our fast-growing Immigration Legal Services Program. Our Immigration Legal Services Program is serving 600 people or so a year in all three sites, Boston, Manchester, and Lowell. In last year, we served about 885, almost 900 people in our Lowell site because we did a lot of COVID-19 outreach, which Caroline will talk about in a few minutes. About half of the people that we serve in Lowell are refugees, and the other half are people of various immigration statuses, including asylees. Those are people who come to the United States on a visa and are seeking to stay here permanently. Special immigrant visa holders from Afghanistan and Iraq. These are people that have translated for the US government or work with the US government closely in those two countries. Cuban and Haitian entrants, permanent residents, and some newer citizens of the United States. According to the new economy report that Emma and Chris Coe worked on, just under a quarter of the city's immigrant population, about 7,000 people, are refugees, most of whom were resettled by our organization, the International Institute of New England. Nearly 2/3 of these former refugees are now naturalized citizens. You can become a citizen if you come to the United States as a refugee. And this number does not represent former refugees, including the city's large Khmer population, many of whom still identify to this day as refugees. So I'm now going to turn this over to Caroline Rowe, who's going to talk about, who our managing director in Lowell, who managed this whole move. And Caroline's going to talk a little bit about why our services are so important. And I'm going to skip through the slides as she talks. Go ahead, Caroline.
Great, thank you, Jeff. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. We're really excited to tell you about our new space in Lowell. And so the people we serve are trying to advance in Lowell's economy. They want to learn English, get better paying jobs, make sure their children are doing well in school, and become a part of the community. A little more than 1/3 of immigrants in Lowell own their own homes, and the other 2/3 are renters, and they are the ones generating a substantial amount of rent income in the city. And the people we work with contribute so much to the life and validity of our city. So for our Lowell programs, we have our refugee reception placement and case management program. So each year, our staff welcome refugees at the airports in Boston or Manchester, and then places them in privately owned apartments in the city. We then help the refugee adults find jobs, enroll them in healthcare plans, public benefits, enroll them in English language classes, and guide their children through the process of registering for school. And then we have ESOL programs, which serves clients of all levels of English and also supports clients that are learning to read and write for the first time. We also provide youth programming. So we have a refugee youth mentoring program that connects young adults with adult volunteer mentors who support them in achieving academic and financial success. And then we have a new program called Youth Goal that helps out-of-school youth achieve financial and academic success, specifically supporting them in achieving their GED, HiSET, or a skills training certificate, such as our CNA program, which I'll touch on in a second. We also provide employment services, which supports our clients in finding jobs. Yusuf Abdi, our career service manager himself, has placed 500 people in employment. And then we have our certified nursing assistant training program, which prepares immigrants and refugees for jobs as CNAs, which is a huge need throughout our region. And our program has expanded it from the 100-hour course to the 200-hour course to really provide that English language support to our clients. And then finally, we have Immigration Legal Services, which has 3 staff members at the Lowell office, and they have served nearly 1,500 unique individuals over the last 2.5 years. And it is IINE's fastest growing program, and our managing attorney and her associate are based in our Lowell office. So that's a little bit about our programming, and I would like to introduce Emma Tobin, our Chief Program Officer, who can talk about our recent move to the Lowell Community Health Center.
Great, thank you so much, Caroline. So why did we move to the Lowell Community Health Center? Well, I first want to start by thanking our partners at UTEC. We rented a space on Warren Street from UTEC for 8 years, and we had a great partnership with UTEC, and we still do today. As our lease was coming to an end, we did some thinking about what was best for our clients and our services. In doing that reflection, we thought about the fact that nearly all of our clients access their medical care, their dental care, their mental health care, and behavioral health care services at the Lowell Community Health Center. We also know, as Caroline mentioned, that there's very high demand for trained people to fill healthcare positions in Lowell and throughout the region. And we're playing a role in doing that work and preparing immigrants and refugees for jobs in healthcare. And that this area is constantly seeking new talent. So bringing together those two pieces, we thought that being co-located with the Lowell Community Health Center would be an absolutely perfect fit for the future of our work in Lowell. So in my years as managing director at our Lowell office, before Caroline stepped into her role, I continued and developed a very strong working relationship with Sue Levine, the CEO of the Lowell Community Health Center. And Sue and I had long discussed the possibility of IINE relocating to Jackson Street, but IINE could not afford the then available space, which would have required a full build out. And so it seemed like a dream that would not come to fruition. But then one day in the spring of 2020, just after IINE and many organizations had transitioned to remote work because of COVID-19, Sue called me and asked if we would have any interest in space that had become available at the health center. A few weeks later, we toured the space. We walked around, we imagined ourselves being there, and we knew that this was our new perfect home in Lowell. Of course, what followed after that was, a budget and seeking approval from our board, which we did, and they were all very excited. And we began to develop a plan for building out the space and relocating our services to Jackson Street. So locating our program at the Lowell Community Health Center is incredibly meaningful for us. Many refugees and immigrants can now come to one place, one location, where they can access medical services, they can see an immigration attorney, they can attend a skills training program, they can attend an ESOL class, they can meet with their resettlement case manager or their employment services counselor, all inside one building. The Lowell Community Health Center has an incredibly broad range of services, including primary care, pediatric and adolescent health services, community health programs, dental services, family planning, eye care, behavioral health services, and beyond. The health center's Meta Clinic has unique programming for refugee patients, including Lowell's large Southeast Asian community, many of whom arrived in the US as refugees, and the refugees and early status immigrants that we continue to serve today. So when a newly arrived refugee family first arrives in Lowell, IINE's case specialist can walk that family down the hall to the Meta Clinic for their refugee health assessment screening. It's a two-part medical screening that every refugee receives. And now we can literally bring the person to the door without even leaving our building and say, this is where you're going to see your doctor for the first time in the United States. And then following that, many IINE clients remain at Meta for their ongoing primary health care. I think it's safe to say that the Lowell Community Health Center is our closest partner in the city of Lowell, and locating our programming in the center makes it easier for us to serve our clients even more deeply.
And we designed our new space to allow for case management, education, and employment services, as well as space for our growing immigration legal services program. In addition, we're building 2 state-of-the-art classrooms that will allow us to teach students in person, remotely, and hybrid. The classrooms have video conferencing equipment, microphones, and very large TVs to support our classes. And in these classrooms, our staff will teach English as well as skills training programs, and our youth mentoring program will take place in these classrooms. And all of these programs prepare our clients for careers in healthcare and other industries in Lowell. And now we will show you a virtual walkthrough of our space. And although this is just a virtual introduction, we're really excited to eventually have you at our new office in person.
I'm Jeff Bailman, the President and CEO of the International Institute of New England, and
I'm Caroline Rowe. I'm the Lowell Managing Director.
And we are pleased to welcome you to our new location at the Lowell Community Health Center. We have moved into this space just a few weeks ago, and we've been planning this move for quite some time. We serve close to 900 people here in the Lowell office, maybe more some years. And what's great about this space is that we are located in the health center where our clients receive the majority of their health services. And so this becomes a one-stop shop for our clients. They can come here, they can take a class, meet with a case manager, get legal assistance, get other services, and then drop downstairs or across the way to meet with their doctor or medical provider. We're now in our front entrance, and I'm going to take you down the hallway where some of our offices are located. This is our reception area, but here is the reception area in here. And over here is our legal department, our managing attorney, Kiara St. Pierre. Say hello, Kiara.
Hi, everyone.
So Kiara oversees our legal services program that serves 600 or so people a year, providing them with immigration legal services. And next door is our associate attorney, and we also have space here for an administrative assistant. And there are more offices here. Our human resources office is here with a visitor and a new case specialist and her children. Hi, girls. You're on candid camera. More offices. This is the education, the leader of our education program here, youth programming here in Lowell, overseeing refugee youth mentoring and all of our ESOL, or English for Speakers of Other Language classes. Services team, community services manager sits in here. Community services are is our case management. So those are the folks that help people navigate all sorts of things, public benefits, the healthcare system, adjusting to the United States. Over here is employment services, and this team in here helps people to get jobs when they arrive in the country and after they've been here for a while, trying to help them advance and get better paying jobs. And then we come down here. We have our, this is Safina, our HR coordinator. Say hi, Safina.
Hi.
And in here is one of our conference rooms. We have a screen here so we can, the group can meet in here, and they can connect with groups by Zoom and other offices. This is a meeting room for Caroline, the director of our site, and her staff. I'm going to take you down to Caroline's office, and then Caroline is going to take over the tour and give you a lot more data. So Caroline is the managing director. You just met her. There's her breakfast. But this is where she leads the office, and she's doing a great job for us. We're lucky to have her on the team. And Caroline also oversaw, I just want to give her a plug here, the whole move, and she was the point person for this build out. So she's now an expert on construction project management. It's her second career.
So here we have open office seating where staff and clients can meet throughout the day. And then I'll take you over to our classrooms. We will eventually have a mural on this wall. And then over here, we have another shared office and our file storage. And then through this door, we have our 2 classrooms where we will have our youth mentoring program that meets every Wednesday, 4 to 6. And then our ESOL classes that meet Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 9 to 12. Right now, all of our classes are happening on Zoom, but we're hoping after moving into this space, we're going to be able to adapt to a hybrid model. So our classroom furniture has not arrived yet. It will arrive soon, but we are really excited about our technology. We have this TV that is connected with a video camera and surround sound system so that our teachers will be able to teach hybrid model classes. We have found during COVID that having classes on Zoom allows additional access to students who might otherwise not be able to come to class, who have either child care or transportation issues. So we are hoping to continue a hybrid model where some students can come in person and some can be remote. So this new classroom will allow us to do that, and we have 2 in the office. I can show you quickly the other classroom as well. Here's the second classroom, a little bit smaller, but all the same technology, and we'll be able to fit the same number of students. So we are excited to have students back in the classroom and in our office.
So we're back live. Thank you very much, Caroline, for that. And also I want to thank Michelle Alberini, and who's an intern in our development office, and our director of development and communications, Diane Shohet, for putting together that video that you saw. We'll have all this on our website after the broadcast, and we hope people go and take a look at it. I want to end with a brief story about one of our clients, just to kind of tell you about the magic that can happen in any IINE site, whether it's Boston, Manchester, New Hampshire, or Lowell, Massachusetts. And one of our clients' name is Wissam Al-Muntawali. Wissam came to the United States from Iraq in 2013 with his wife and his then baby daughter. He was a practicing physician in Iraq. He worked in an emergency room in Mosul where there was heavy fighting during the Iraq War. And needless to say, he practiced medicine under very difficult circumstances. When we resettled him in 2013, he knew almost no English. He took our English classes with our longtime IINE ESOL teacher, Sherry Spalding, who's been with IINE for 25, 26 years. Our team in Lowell found him a job at Whole Foods, and he worked there. This is a practicing physician who had done surgery in Iraq. He was washing dishes at first because his English wasn't strong enough to be out front. And then he got a little bit better in English and they put him in food prep and they let him talk to some customers at Whole Foods. After a few years, he said, you know, I got to get better at English. I got to find more time to practice English. I need to make a little more money. And he wasn't giving up on his dream of becoming a doctor. So he started driving for Uber. Practicing English as he was driving and dreaming of how he could somehow find a way into the medical profession. In 2018, Wissam came back to our Lowell office, and one of our staff members, Chris Coe, again, who I mentioned earlier, was at the front desk. And he wanted to take an English class to improve his skills. And Sherry was there. Sherry recognized Wissam. They reconnected. And Sherry introduced Wissam to Dr. Bill Mason, one of our volunteers. Bill is a retired surgeon from who worked at worked at Tufts Medical Center. And so Bill was volunteering in one of our classes, tutoring English that day. Wissam and Bill connected. They had a conversation, and Bill asked him, you know, what do you want to do? And Wissam said he just wanted to improve his English and find some job in the medical profession. He would take anything. He would be an orderly. He would do patient transport, anything that he could possibly do. And Bill then invited him to the American College of Surgeons conference in Boston that year, that fall, late fall of 2018. And Wissam saw what they call a Vinci surgical system, and he asked Bill if he could try it out. Bill said, sure. And as Bill watched Wissam work with this surgical system, this is a system that allows you to do surgery all over the world, any place in the world. And he said, this guy's got amazing hands. He's got better hands and more talent than most surgeons that I've seen in the United States. We got to get this guy into the profession here. So Bill Mason committed to do all he could to help Wissam become a doctor in the United States. He worked on his English. He prepared him for the U.S. medical licensing exam. Eventually, Wissam passed the U.S. medical licensing exam. Then he helped Wissam, pictured here, washing dishes. He helped Wissam apply to medical residencies across the United States. And they practiced, Bill and Wissam did. Bill spent hours tutoring him. They worked on his English. They worked on his interview, which is very important. And thanks to Bill's help, Wissam recently received several offers, and he decided to accept an offer from the SUNY Medical University in upstate New York. He's now a resident in upstate New York, and after 3 years of residency, Wissam, who is now 40 years old, who operated in Iraq with bombs all around him, will be able to practice medicine in the United States. So every day in our Lowell and our Manchester and our Boston sites, we have magical moments that happen like this. Clients are in the office, volunteers and tutors and professional staff are in our office or out in the field with our clients, finding talent, trying to help this talent, nurture this talent, help this talent to learn English, gain new skills, and somehow find their way into the United States of America. So by supporting the Lowell build-out, and I want to thank the donors who have contributed so far to this project, by supporting the Lowell build-out, you not only help build or complete the build of this beautiful space in the Lowell Community Health Center, where we're going to be for a long time. We've signed a 10-year lease with 5-year options, but you are supporting a space where IINE staff and volunteers come together to change the next generation of Lowellians. So we thank you for watching this broadcast, and now Emma, Caroline, and I are happy to take any questions you might have. I guess you can put questions in the chat if you'd like.
Well, we don't seem to have any questions, which must mean people are satisfied. But we thank everybody for attending. And this recording will be available by tomorrow. Thank you, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate your support and help. Have a great day.